Hello, I'm Amelia Ruby, and welcome to my tiny tarot practice. Today's card is the Eight of Wands. I like to think of the Eight of Wands as the shits hit the fan card. That's not entirely it's not an entirely accurate metaphor, but it is the feeling that comes through for me when I look at this card, because in the Rider-Waite-Smith version of this card, we see eight wands in the sky, and they're kind of traveling from the upper left of the card down toward the lower right, and they appear to be falling to earth. The wands are falling to earth. The fire is coming to earth. And so, often in the metaphor, when we say like shit's hit the fan, we mean like some sort of human error or something has happened and just like gone up and like shit, it's all going to come back down. This is perhaps the moment where like it's hit the fan and it's spraying everywhere and it's coming back down. I need to stop with this metaphor. My apologies. But really, I see this card as a reminder that we have to wait and see. That time will tell, that something is coming in or coming through, and we can't know what's going to happen yet. We can't be sure. We have to release control, and we have to receive. We have to surrender. If we think about this card in terms of someone's creative practice, since the wands, as I've said many times, in exploring them are about their creative fire or force, this is the moment where we're just waiting for the idea to descend, or perhaps something is really striking you and you're not sure how it's going to work out. You can't be sure. You can't control it. That creative inspiration, that impulse, that download is not within your control. It could also be a time of tension or conflict in your life where it's not in your power to resolve or change it. And you just have to wait and see. Again, I have many times pulled this card when the shit has hit the fan and I no longer have any control over where it's going to go or what's going to happen. And I think so often those moments can feel so stressful and so hard. In our contemporary society, we are taught that things are within our control. And part of the reason that we're taught that is because we are blamed if things do not go the way they are quote unquote, supposed to or should. But so many things aren't within our control. So often we just have to wait and see. And it's uncomfortable because we've lived these long lives. Well, depending on your age, we've lived these lives of variable length, being told and convincing ourselves and even believing that we have power over how things go. But the Eight of Wands is a reminder that we don't always. Things come out of nowhere. Maybe that's a better phrase for this. Things come out of nowhere. And so this card is still very much in progress. We've made it to the 8 in our journey through the wands, and things are still in process. We are still progressing. If you remember when I went back to the Ace of Wands, the very beginning of this journey through the wands, we talked about how this is a suit of process over product. And here with the 8, we are yet again in the process, and we are invited or urged or required to hand over our desire for control, to surrender it, and again, to just wait and see and receive, to wait, see, and receive. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of my Tiny Tarot podcast. My Tiny Tarot process on my Tiny Tarot podcast. I'm your host, Amelia Ruby. You can find links to more of my work in the show notes, as well as a bookshop list where I share my favorite tarot and magical books and tools. And if you make a purchase through that link, I'll receive a small affiliate payment, and then I can keep making this podcast, or I'll have more support for continuing. I hope that you have a wonderful day. I hope that if shit is hitting the fan in your life, you are able to, for at least a second, surrender and channel the energy of the Eight of Wands.